Man, what is happening, my YouTube family? Of course, it is your boy B New. I'm coming at you on this Tuesday. And first and foremost, as always, just want to send out positive vibrations and blessings to anybody who could be listening. Now, with all that being said, we know that the Brooklyn Nets had a do-or-die situation last night, facing elimination against the Boston Celtics team that we all know was playing well leading to the end of the season and was on a good roll and actually was a great defensive team. But a lot of people, of course, including myself, I won't even lie, I picked the Nets coming out the East. I thought it would be Golden State against the Nets, and I would have loved to see that Kevin Durant against his former team, Steph Curry. I think it would have been a great match for the ages, but it was not to be. And of course, as you all know, I am one of the biggest LeBron James fans ever, and you know where I have him on my list. If you don't, then go check out all the previous shows and you'll find out. But at the end of the day, I know a lot of people don't want to hear about LeBron because LeBron at home on the couch and not even participating in the playoffs this year. But what I do want to bring out is because people are going to constantly try to compare. And of course, there's a lot of people who were so happy that Kevin Durant lost. I'm not really one of those, because at the end of the day, I already knew that Kevin Durant, he is a great player, and I still have him, top 15 all time, or I think he will finish his career. But when people say lack of killer instinct, they need to start mentioning Kevin Durant and leave LeBron James' name out their mouth. Because if anybody got a lack of killer instinct, it is not LeBron James, because we all know LeBron James has the most buzzer beaters in playoff history, in 5. Michael Jordan got 3, and Dame Dollar got 2. So don't say that LeBron James is not clutch, because LeBron James is everything, even clutch. So y'all just need to stop that. And I know a lot of people were saying the other day, because I said that the Celtics, that LeBron faced that Celtics team, and of course a lot of people said that's not the same Celtics team, but at the end of the day, like I said, they had the same core of Tatum, Jalen Brown, Al Horford, and Marcus Smart. And of course, they even had Marquise Morris, who is a great defender and a shooter as well. And at the end of the day, they made the Eastern Conference Finals. But I actually looked up something else that I noticed too. They actually were ranked #1 in defense that season. So they allowed 101 points per 100 possessions, which was actually the best of that season. So you mean to tell me that LeBron James, without Kyrie Irving and without Kevin Love, Game 7 on the road in Boston, was able to win and help propel his team to the finals? That is the difference. And one thing that really stands out to me that I want to say, and I've said before, but I really want to point it out for those who want to keep drawing comparisons, saying that Kevin Durant was a better player than LeBron James. When I'll tell you that even right now, Kevin Durant is still not a better player than LeBron James, because at the end of the day, LeBron James, even at his age, has the ability to get downhill, has the ability to get to the hole at any time. Even his biggest hater, Skip Bayless, says LeBron James is the best driver of the basketball that he's ever seen. And when you have a strong defense like the Nets and you constantly double, LeBron James can split double teams, still force the action, get to the hole. He can pass the ball out of the double to the right person, get the ball back on the cut and get to the hole. He can get the ball high enough, far out, way at the top of the key, and cause a one-on-one situation and drive by any defender and get to the hole. There's been defenses such as Dallas in 2011 that we all know that was designed to the whole team to attack LeBron James defensively and to build walls, not allowing him to get to the hole. And at the end of the day, LeBron James and Kevin Durant really had the same points per game. But somebody would say that Kevin Durant is a better scorer than LeBron James. Now, he's a better shooter than LeBron James. That's the difference. Just like Steph is a better shooter than LeBron James, but are they better basketball players? Are they better basketball players? And people always want to say, well, he ain't got 6 rings like Michael Jordan. What you have to realize is, everything is all about, when you get to the finals, it's going to be the 2 best teams in the NBA 9 times out of 10. And when you're going against that other team, one thing that's always have in common, most championship teams, you have a championship coach. And You know, that's something that LeBron James has never really had. Eric Spoelstra in his own right has probably been the best coach that LeBron James has had, because he's still having success to this day and was still able to get his teams back to a finals without LeBron James. And that's actually the most successful person who's departed from LeBron James. And at the end of the day, what it looked like is, Kyrie, you should have stayed with LeBron, and KD, you should have stayed right over there with Golden State, because you gave up being on the best team ever because you let Draymond Green punk you and your ego get hurt, for you to want to go all the way and change to another team rather than stay where you were, because of course people were going to continue to doubt your rings. Of course, you let that get to you. But I'm not mad at the move, because a lot of people say, and I agree, that that was one of the weakest moves. And one thing we hope is that Kevin Durant does not show up in a Boston Celtics uniform next year, just like the way he did when he left OKC and went to Golden State. You know what I'm saying? And people want to draw the comparisons of LeBron James going to Miami and say that's the same thing, and people want to take away, oh, he created super teams. At the end of the day, let me ask you something. The Boston Celtics team that was formed with Ray Allen, Kevin Garnett, and Paul Pierce were an ultimate team. Was LeBron just going to sit there and keep losing to them every year while his GM, front office, and owners surrounded him with the likes of Antoine Jameson? Was he going to continue to sit there, broke down Shaq or Boobie Gibson? How long was he going to continue to sit there? But he took his destiny into his own hands. He went down with his teammate. He exercised his right as a free agent and moved to another franchise. Now, Kareem, he did the same thing. Oh, technically it was a trade, but he gave them the heads up because free agency was coming about because of the great Oscar Robertson. If I take you down a history down memory lane, Oscar Robertson, who fought for free agents just so players could be able to do that, and teams didn't own you and just make you stay wherever you were drafted. Because when you out of college and go to a regular job, it's called a free market enterprise. But for some reason, you slow sheeple and smooth brain people just hate LeBron James so much that you think that that what he did by exercising his free trade option was something bad. And because he went to the likes of a Miami Heat and joined the Dwayne Wade, when as you have superstars such as Magic Johnson, who luckily came into the league, he was already teamed with great superstars, and the great James Worthy, the great Kareem Abdul-Jabbar, other great role players around him who could 3-and-D dudes back in the 80s, 3-and-D dudes like Cooper, Byron Scott. You understand what I'm saying? Larry Bird, surrounded by great talent. Other Hall of Famers like the Chief Robert Parrish, Kevin McHale in that front court, and then great players like a Danny Ainge who can knock down threes, and a Dennis Johnson who can handle that rock and take a lot of pressure off people like Larry Bird. So don't get it twisted. You know, you're always going to have, and I'm not giving LeBron James all the credit when he makes it to the finals, you know, but I look at common denominators. This man went to the finals 8 straight years with one team, then went to another team and made it 4 years in a row. Then that's letting you know something. And I hate, and the way Brandon Ingram is playing right now, I do hate that LeBron wanted AD so bad, because AD stayed hurt. And I think if LeBron had been patient with the young core, then, and I knock LeBron for that. He's not perfect. I knock him for that, because AD, I think it still can work. And LeBron, even though he's long in the tooth and can't get up and down the floor like he once could, and not recover from injury as well as he once could, considering he's missed more games as a Laker than he has in his whole entire career combined, then that's letting you know something. But at the end of the day, Kevin Durant, y'all put down in the comments, what's to y'all, what's more disappointing? Which season is the most disappointing? The Lakers seasons or the Nets season? Which one do you think is the most disappointing? Because the Lakers obviously didn't even make the play-in. We don't want to make excuses for anyone, but you know, the Lakers were without the services of Anthony Davis for more than half the season, and that LeBron James missed 30 games himself, if not more. We know he had the ab injury, then as well as the hamstring, and a few more injuries. So at the end of the day, the Lakers could never get it together chemistry-wise. I'm not making any excuse for them, because I think it's still a travesty that they could not make the play-in. But of course, we all know LeBron James was injured yet again at the end of the season. And meanwhile, Brooklyn, you know, they were healthy. So they had their best 2 players that they came together. Now, had they had James Harden, it might be a different story. But with the changes of the rules, James Harden just doesn't quite look like the James Harden that he used to look like. But at the end of the day, I'm excited to see all these good young players. We got some great talent going on tonight with Ja Morant and the Memphis Grizzlies. That's going to be taking on the Minnesota Timberwolves. I might come back later on today and do a full breakdown and preview of that show, give you my picks and my predictions for later on. You got Philly sitting up here about to probably blow blow this lead to Toronto, which I thought Toronto was a dangerous team going in. But a little bit more about the Nets and the Celtics game last night. What I really think is the Nets and the Celtics game, what it boiled down to was everything. If you look, assists was the same. Field goal attempts was pretty much the same. Turnovers the same. Points off turnovers the same. But then you look at the free throw disparity, and the Nets missed so many free throws. Then you go down the line. KD only missed one, and we know that was a crucial one, but he did miss one. But Claxton was 1 out of 11 from the free throw line. At what point did you try to give LaMarcus Aldridge a chance? Because, you know, LA is going to step up to the line and make free throws. And I know a lot of people want to blame Steve Nash. You know, he was a first-time coach. You know, he coached them last year, you know, and they did pretty well. So when they would have been successful and had beat Milwaukee last year, would have been Steve Nash's fault. And I know they say, well, get that same energy to Vogel. You know, but I'm going to tell the truth. You know, I don't watch all of the Nets games. I watch every single Lakers game so I can scrutinize the coaching more because I can see how his rotations are, what he's doing. Now, throughout this series, I would say Steve Nash should have implemented maybe some pick and roll situations with Kyrie and Kevin Durant. I don't know why he didn't do that because I think they would be the perfect. I'm sorry, y'all. I'm not sure what happened, but the film, I kept talking for damn near 10 more minutes. Thought I was doing some real good insight, in-depth knowledge, but you know what I'm saying, the video stopped, so my apologies. So here I am again, and I don't have as much time as I would like because I'm trying to, you know, get me some lunch before I go take care of some business. So please forgive me for that, but I did want to point out, like I was saying, you know, not to make excuses for the Nets either, but you know, Kyrie was gone most of the season. I feel like if Kyrie hadn't been gone most of the season and had played in a lot of the games, that they would have built more of a continuity with one another. But of course, he made the choice, what he made, of course, not to play in the most part of the season. And then, of course, we all know with the James Harden situation, so you're trying to fit some new pieces around, you know, and things of that nature. But at the end of the day, when you got two of the best players, and Tracy McGrady said two of the best skilled players of all time, then, I mean, if they would have lost, okay, but you actually got swept. So now all these people that love Jordan so much, who don't make sense, now they seem like they just back Kevin Durant because they feel somehow that he vanquished LeBron James for some odd reason. But what they need to realize is Kevin Durant is not on LeBron James' level, like I said before. And he had an opportunity there, but he could not do like LeBron and fight through the physicality and put his head down and get to the basket and do everything that that LeBron James can do to force the situation and at least force more games in the series. Because that game, if you look at it, all the games were pretty close. All of the games was close. All of them could have, you know, went either way. I think they lost all 4 games by a total of like 18 points or something like that. So it was close to each game. But what it boiled down to, now Kyrie, you're the one who said, I look down now at the end of the man, I see somebody else who can hit them up and shot just like me. Well, what happened? Because KD had a chance to hit that young 3 and he didn't hit it. He had a chance to hit that young 3, but he did not hit it. He had it wide open and missed. And then he had an opportunity to step into the line. He only made 1 or 2 of the free throws, you know, and if he had made the other free throw, he cuts the lead to 1. And if he cut the lead to 1, even if they make the next 2, it's still a 3-point game and you have an opportunity. But no, he missed the free throw. They end up actually, off of the missed free throw, go down and score off a wild missed shot that was maybe not necessarily the best basketball play. But of course, Horford was there on the spot. And that's another thing about Nash too. Like I said, if you put LaMarcus Aldridge in, LaMarcus Aldridge, hell, he's just as old as Al Horford. And I know he had health issues, but he came back for a reason. He wanted to be a part of this game. So if you gave Blake Griffin a chance, you know, Marcus Aldridge, he played in, you know, what, 40 games at least. I know, I wish I would have pulled up the stats before, but I know he was playing for the games I remembered. He was playing like 15, 20 minutes a game. So I don't know what caused him to get him the DNP. Let me know in the comments if he was injured. I don't think he was, because I want to say the commentator said, you know, they even mentioned allowing him to get a chance. I don't see why not. Blake Griffin was the only person that was a plus. Kevin Durant, and then Kevin Durant, this is another thing about his bruised ego. Now he just posted on this story the picture of Charles Barkley, Hakeem Olajuwon, and Scottie Pippen. Like he poking fun at them, like, oh, you're not good players. Or, oh, this was a super team, you should have won. Like, Charles Barkley is on TV to scrutinize you and to critique you. That's his job. So why do you get in your feelings like Kyrie giving the finger to the fans and all that kind of stuff? You think these people are not saying all kind of things to LeBron James? But he know that's beneath him because he is the great champion of all time. And I want to get into a lot more about Ben Simmons and why he didn't play, because I honestly think the Nets can be very dangerous with Ben Simmons because he gives them what they're lacking. You know, a great wing defender, somebody who can actually handle the ball and take some of that pressure off of Kyrie. And I think if those three all play, and I don't necessarily think it's his back, I think it's because I think if he feels like if he would have played, he wouldn't get his money and his grievance from Philly, and he's not trying to lose all the millions of dollars. So that's why his agent, himself, and everybody sat down for that meet. He wouldn't have to do in his back. Oh, he woke up with back soreness. Yeah, that's what y'all will say because you want to make sure. But at the end of the day, I think if Ben Simmons plays in that series, that they would have a better shot than what they did. But I'm not trying to, matter of fact, let me make sure I'm not trying to take anything away from the Celtics. They are playing hella ball. They playing great defense. Jalen Brown is playing great. Jason Tatum is playing great. At this point, I'm going to have to pick them. With the way they playing, I mean, Grant, Williams back. Marcus Smart, of course, he's doing this thing. You know, just might have to pick them out of the East, but I think it's going to be very interesting once they run into Milwaukee. But it's a lot more to talk about, as I said. So as always, like I said, I'm running out of time, but we're going to get back more to it later. I got a few other things I need to discuss, and we will get to it. But I appreciate y'all for following along with me. And if you hadn't done so already, hit that bell for notifications. Go ahead, like, subscribe, share, because we got to start this movement. And as always, right on to the real, and much love to these haters. I'm out.